Well, hello everybody. This is TechNolli, and yeah, Hackintosh is still alive. Today, this is going to be a long video because we're going to show all the steps to get this motherboard working. This is the new Arrow Lake. This is the Z890, and we're going to show you all the steps to get one of these working. Now, with that being said, some of these motherboards are not working. And so what I'm going to try to do over the next several months is show you the boards that will work so you'll be able to run macOS on these with no problems. The most exciting part about this motherboard is this right here. It has Thunderbolt, and I've got my Apollo hooked up. Now, I don't know if other Thunderbolts devices will work or not. If you want to send me your Thunderbolt device for me to test, I'd be happy to do that for you, no charge. And as you can see right here, we've got our UAD connection right here. So you can see that it is connected and it is working. You do have to do, currently, you do have to do a soft boot to have this work, which means you're going to have your Thunderbolt or your Apollo turned on. You're going to have the Thunderbolt cable connected, and then you're going to turn on the PC and it will pick it up as soon as it boots up into macOS. We're running Sequoia, and as you can see here, we have Wi-Fi. Let me click that again. There's your Wi-Fi. And we have Bluetooth. So everything is working. This is probably going to be, if you'll remember back in the Z390 Gigabyte Design Air motherboards, this is probably going to be my favorite board for musicians, maybe for anybody, because the stability of it, the Thunderbolt working, and the cost of the motherboard is not that bad. So I'll show you a little bit of this little guy. Just your standard board. All these USBs are working. This is the new way that they're doing Wi-Fi. This just kind of snaps in like that. No Wi-Fi antenna. Audio, of course. Now for right now, I'm having to use this $19 card here for LAN connection. This does have the Realtek 8125 built on the motherboard, but we haven't been able to get the driver working for it yet. When they come out with a new driver, I'm sure it's going to be working because they're putting that LAN connector on a lot of these 890 motherboards. So I just grabbed one of these, stuck it in there, just so you know you've got LAN available to you. It's got 3 PCIe slots, including the graphics, and it has 3 NVMe slots. There's 2 there, and there is 1 in there. You can see my NVMe drive. And 4 slots for memory. You've got your front USB-C connector that goes here, and your front USB-C or USB 3 here. You've got some SATA imports. So standard motherboard, works extremely well. Has on-off BIOS reset switches on it, which is super nice. And that's it. But what we're going to do is we're going to get into this, and we're going to start with what you need to do to get this thing working properly. And that includes having well, I've got mine right here. I'm going to be hooking up this SATA drive that has Windows on it, okay, because we're going to boot this motherboard with Windows so we can get our SSDTs and patches that are needed for this motherboard, okay? And this is the easiest way to do it. So if you've got an old Windows machine with Windows 10 on it laying around, or Windows whatever really, you can hook this up to this motherboard, and we can get into Windows and do what we need to do. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And then from there on out, we're going to build the USB stick and everything from there. And we'll have all of our patches that we need and all of our SSDTs that we need for this motherboard to boot properly. There's a couple of things on these 890s that we have to do to get them to work. And BIOS settings are extremely important on this one. If you forget one BIOS setting, then she's not going to boot on you. So we have to be real careful with that. So also coming up soon, next videos, I'm going to be doing the new AM5 Ryzen motherboards, showing you guys how to build EFIs for those, because I'm getting a lot of requests for those, but they are not as easy to do as your, these Intel boards have been. But now that we've got these motherboards that have extra steps to do to get them to work properly, I might as well show you how to do the Ryzen, so you can have your choice of what to do. We're also going to do Logic Pro X benchmark on this to show you what we can do. We're also going to do a Geekbench, and we're going to show you, the performance of this motherboard. I was really surprised because I've done a ASRock Z890 motherboard, the Pro RS, and I did not get the performance with Geekbench that I'm getting with this motherboard. So really interesting that my performance is much higher on this motherboard with the same. This is basically an i7. They call it Ultra. It's the new, Intel's calling everything Ultra now. Ultra 7, Ultra 9. We haven't been able to get the Ultra 9 285Ks in because they're raising the prices of them. People are buying them up, raising the price, and I'm not going to pay a ridiculous price for that CPU until it gets down to a regular, I think it should be around 600 or, maybe 579, something like that. So this is the 7, the Ultra 7 265K, and you're going to be shocked at the performance of this. I was really shocked. So I'm not having such a negative attitude toward the new Intel chips. I think we have to be careful what motherboard we use in them. So guys, let's switch over to the software to see my screen, and we can get started with Windows on this. Now, one other thing, this motherboard and a lot of these new motherboards are coming with Wi-Fi 7 cards. Well, guess what? Wi-Fi 7 is not, they don't have drivers for it yet, the open core guys. So what I did was I swapped out, and I'll show you how to do it, the little Wi-Fi card that's in here with the Wi-Fi 6. Everything's working fine. So not too big of a pain in the butt, but I'm sure they'll get Wi-Fi 7s working soon. But for right now, if you want to jump on this Z890 and don't want to, stick with the 14K with the CPU problems and stuff, this is a way to get around that. Okay? All right, let's get into it. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do, like I said before, is I want to boot with this Windows drive. So I'm just going to connect power to it and plug it in one of these SATA ports. And then make sure that's on. We'll turn this on. And boot up into Windows. Now you don't have to worry about changing BIOS settings or anything like that. You can keep all your BIOS settings the same. I'll move you in a little closer here. Okay. So there we are. Okay, so it's just that simple. Just hook up your drive, your Windows drive. Just have it boot up. Or if you don't have one, just go ahead and install Windows on your new PC. And then we'll be able to get this part of it done. I'm going to switch over to the desktop software, the screen software, so I can show you what's going on. All right, guys, we are in Windows here on this new PC. And what we want to do is we want to get the latest program called SSDT Time. Okay, and it's right here. So we'll grab this. Just click here where it says code and download zip. All right, then we can open this up and I'm going to extract all. Okay, so here is the master. Now I'm going to get rid of this one. This is the one that I've been using. And I'll drag this one onto my desktop. I'll put it right there. Okay. So what we need is we need SSDTs to put in our ACPI folder in our EFI. Now, really, for any motherboard that you're going to try to install macOS on, this is the best way to get those SSDTs. You can use pre-built ones and they do work, but they will lag your boot times a little bit and they're just not as, let's say, perfectly set up for your particular motherboard. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to go right here. I'm going to right click and open. All right. So here we are. The first thing we need to do is we need to dump the current system ACPI tables. So we're going to hit P. All right. Now we're going to build the ones that we need. So we're just going to go down the line here. We don't need to do the laptop one, but we do need to do several of these. So let's just go ahead and try it. Number one. Okay, and the default option here is C, so we'll use that. All right. And then we'll go to 2, which we definitely need. And hit enter when we're done. We don't need number 3. Let's do the number 4, which is USB power properties. And let's see what it says. Remove a property by typing its key number. Blah, 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 blah. So let's do B to build it. All right. And we need number 5. Perfect. And we'll go ahead and grab number 6. I don't think it's necessary, but we'll put it in. And we definitely need number 7. Enter. And we'll grab 8 and 9. Well, I don't know the device path for this, so I'm going to go back out. Okay, now we don't need 0 because that is for laptop backlight. And A, that is to rename patches for Windows versions for OSID. And I'm not even sure about that, but let's grab it. And A is the default, so we'll go ahead. It's another patch. Okay. And then we'll do letter B. Okay. And C. All right. So we're done with that. We can just hit quit and we'll go right up here to results. And here are our results. And what we're going to need is all of, there's ones here that end in DSL, and then there's the ones that don't end in DSL, but we want the ones that don't end in DSL. So I'm just going to make myself a folder over here. New folder, and I'm going to drag in. I need the patches for OpenCore, not for Clover. And then I'm just going to start highlighting these and grabbing what I need. Okay, and then copy and paste. Perfect. All right, so these are all of the SSDTs that this motherboard produced and the patches. Okay, now that we have all of those SSDTs and everything we need, I'm going to stick a USB drive in here, just a blank one, and copy our folder over there to it. So here it is, just an empty USB stick. All right. Okay, now we can get started with building the EFI. Okay guys, so we're booting back up. This is the Z890. Just going to go ahead and do it within it, macOS. And I'm going to show you a new way to make a USB stick. Very simple way. A boot stick. Okay. So we'll go ahead and log in here. And what I want you to do is, I want you to go download. Let's see. Just go ahead and do a search for OpenCore and Legacy Patcher. Okay, is what we want. So we'll click here to Legacy Patcher, get started, download and build installer. Okay, and right here is the app that we need, and we want the latest version. And here it is. Okay, so this is going to make it so simple for you to make a bootable macOS drive with, you know, whatever version of macOS you want to use. And I'll show you how that's done as soon as we install this. Okay, so that's downloaded. We'll go ahead and click on it here. And we'll open. And we'll open. And put in password. Minimize this so we don't see a bunch of ugly stuff. Okay, so what we want to do is create macOS installer. So we click here, and we don't have anything downloaded, so we're going to download the macOS. Okay, So these are the last or latest versions. So I want Sequoia, so I'll click Sequoia. I'll download it. It will ask, I've got a 32 gig USB stick in the computer, a blank one, because it's going to erase it right here. Okay. Once this is done downloading, it'll say, do you want to make a USB stick? And you say yes, then that's it. Okay, and it's all done for you automatically. Really simple. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here and continue like we already have our stick made, which I do right here. Okay, so here's my stick. All right, now what I'm going to do is, you guys know I always use OC auxiliary tools. It is the simplest way for you to make your EFI. So all you have to do is type in OC auxiliary, and it's going to pop up right there. Auxiliary tools. You click here and click right here to the latest, and then just download the macOS version. They also have a Windows version if you want to do this in Windows after you make your stick. Okay, so I have it installed, of course, and here it is. Now, once you install it, it's going to be an old version, okay? So you want to go right here, and you want to select this to the latest version, and then get the latest version of OpenCore. Okay, so there you go. I've got version 1.03. Okay, now let's open up our stick. So I'm going to click here to mount the ESP, and here is my USB stick, and I'm going to put in my password, and here is my EFI. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up here, and I am going to get rid of this one that I've already built. All right, so I'm going to erase, so there's nothing there. Okay, and then I'm going to change the name of this one. Now, if you've got a blank stick, you wouldn't have to do all this stuff. And I'm just going to say old. All right, the first thing we want to do is we want to build a basic EFI. So we're going to click here, and we're going to go to the Intel CPU configuration template, and then click here for the P list. This is a list of different config.p lists, and just go down to 11th core, 11th gen, excuse me, and let's just download this one. I'm going to say OK here. All right, and then we click download. All right, and then let's open it up. All right, so there we go. Now the first thing we want to do is go to edit. Now I know I'm going fast, but you guys can slow this down and go back and forth and figure this out. But I want to get through this for the people that already know how to do it. And generate an EFI on the desktop. Okay, so there we are. So now we've got a decent start. We've got several of our Kexton here, and we've got some SSDTs that we're not going to use, but they would be a good start if you were going to just try it without it. Okay, things that we need to do to finish this out is we need to add a lot of Kext. The first one I want to talk to you about is the Wi-Fi. Okay, so let's go over here to OpenCore, and this is the regular. We're going to click on the OpenCore website, get started, gathering files. And if we go down here to Wi-Fi, and then we click here on airport, the most current version, number 1, only supports up to Wi-Fi 6, and shows nothing here for Sequoia. Okay, so the other method that we've been using, and it works very well, is this one, ITLWM. Okay, and we just want to grab that. So we'll just download it. Now, in order to use this particular kext, we need a program. Now, when they come out with the Sequoia Airport version, we don't need this program. For now, we need Heliport. So we're going to go down here and download the latest version. I've been using this version, 1.5. We'll just download that. Okay, so there we go. Now, we go back here to the Bluetooth. Now, the Bluetooth that they're showing on this website is an old version. Okay, there is a newer version, and I'm not sure. Let me look on my website if I have the download. If not, by the time you see this video, you're going to see it. Inject all, no. Yes, right here, Bluetooth fix. So we're going to click and download this. So we have the correct text for Sequoia. All right. So we've got those downloaded. Now, what else do we need? On this particular system, we're going to need a land controller text. So we'll go back here to the guide, and we'll go back to gathering files and Ethernet. Now, if we come down here to the Lucy RTL 8125 that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, this works fine for the little card that I put in, but it does not work, even the latest version 1.2, for these 870s. But if you are going to use the file, the LAN card that I purchased, then you would grab this text as well. And let's see. So let's go back to OpenCore, and let's start adding in what we've done so far. So we'll go over here, downloads, and we'll start. I'm going to show you what happens when we add in our text. Oops. This is the Wi-Fi, or the EFI that I need to dump into. Text. All right. So this is the Wi-Fi. So we're going to drop it in here. You'll notice it'll pop up here, right there. And the Bluetooth, we need all 3 of these. So we'll just drag and drop those. And we're going to need the Lucy, which I will put on my website so you don't have to log into that other website. All right, now we have the USB stick that we have all of our SSDTs saved on. So we'll open this up. And what we need to do is, this is a little bit tricky because we're going to put in our ACPI patches, is we need to open this plist. So what I like to do is just have this highlighted, click here, and do new window. It's going to open up another existence of OC auxiliary tools, okay, right there. So then I go open or file, open, and then I'm going to go over to this USB stick with the folder, and I'm going to open up this plist. All right, so then I click on patches, and these are the patches that I need to put in here. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to do a copy and then paste. Okay, copy line, and then paste to each one of these. IRQ8, paste, copy line, paste, and one more, this one, copy line, and paste. All right, and then we will save. Now guys, one more patch you're gonna need is this one right here. I'm gonna have to stretch this out so you can see it. And you need to write this one down, okay? So this is necessary. This is by a genius in the open core community. His call out name is VIT9696. I think I found him on Tony Mac's website, but he came up with this patch in order to get through a lot of the beginning boot scripts that the normal, the Z790s, the Z690s, and other ones do not require, but this will be required or you'll get stuck in the first boot menu. So what you have to do is just, here's the one we're working on. We're going to click new, and you're just going to copy everything. Like right here, this has to be has to be 0. And then you're going to copy this in right here. And then this next one, count, needs to be 1. And then it needs to be turned on, of course. And then we need this. So we'll copy and paste this. You'll be typing it in. So be careful that you get it all typed in correctly. Okay, and then 0 right there. And then the next line is this one. So we'll copy it. Then right here, this one goes where it says replace. Enter. And then 0, 0, and then there's one more, this one right here. Copy, and we'll put it right at the end, right there. Amazing. Okay, so let's make sure it looks the same. Yes, everything looks correct. Now guys, I want to add a couple of things here that I forgot to mention. This right here, in USB inject TechNolli Kext, you can get off my website. Okay, you're going to need that to get past the booting in the beginning where I showed you where it stopped for a second. So this is that file you're going to need, and you're going to need to make sure that under quirks here that XHCI port limit is checked. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get past the boot process in the beginning. So make sure that everything is set up correctly or you'll have problems. All right, let's move on. Okay, now what else do we have to do? We're okay on booter. this is turned off and we don't even need it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And everything is good here. We'll go over here to miscellaneous, and we want to click security and set this to disable. Save it. NVRAM, we're going to click right here where it says boot args, and then just get rid of that and type -v space keep sims equals 1 debug equals 0x100. And let's see, we're also going to need for our bigger graphics card, we're going to need a setting, our boot argument. So let's open that up. And I'll just copy everything here, guys, so you have everything. Okay, so let me stretch this out. Okay, so this is what you need to have. Okay, so make sure you copy that down or whatever, take a picture of it, and put that into your boot arguments. All right, let's go down to here to platform info, and this is correct. We want to use Mac Pro 7,1. Go ahead and generate yourself some serial numbers, UUIDs, and that should be good. We can't forget to pull in all of these. So here is our EFI, and here's our ACPI. So we're going to grab all of these from here to here, copy, click on ACPI, and paste 9 items. Okay, so there they are. Now, guys, we just, added all of those SSDTs to our EFI, but these 3 that it built when it built the EFI, we can just get rid of those because we don't need to have doubles. All right, so all we need is what we have here now. So you don't need those extra ones anymore, okay? All right, so we are done. We're ready to try this thing and make sure that it works. We can leave everything turned on, and that should not be an issue. We've got our security set to disabled. We've got our boot arguments right here, and we've got our product name set correctly. Now, here is the EFI. So what I need to do is I need to open up on my USB stick. I need to copy it in. So I'm going to mount it, put in my password, and I'm going to get rid of the one that's in here. So I'll go up here, computer. Okay, I'm just going to rename it to, I don't know, 11. All right, then we'll drag this one into here. Okay, from here, I'm going to take you into the BIOS on this, and I'm going to show you pretty much all the screens and the things that are, must-haves that have to be changed in order for this thing to boot. So let's go ahead and get into there and restart. And we will start tapping the delete key to get into the BIOS as soon as it goes black. Okay. All right, so right now we're in the advanced mode up here on this particular motherboard, and I've got the latest version. If I go over to easy mode, I've got F9 on this. So this is the one I would suggest you use, the BIOS version. But I want to go to advanced mode, and if we start over here at favorites, we can see we've got VTD enabled, which is unusual, right? Secure boot is set to standard. Tweaker, we're not going to do anything in, except make sure that this is set to XMP1, so it recognizes the speed of our RAM. If you have this disabled, then it's going to run, your RAM's going to run slower. We don't want it to run slower. Okay, settings. Platform power, there's nothing in here that we need to change. Okay, we'll go down to I/O ports. We want everything set up just like you see it here. Above 4G, we want resize bar disabled. Everything that you see here, there's nothing in there that we need to change. Nothing here, nothing here. Everything is fine. Both enabled on those. Nothing, 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 nothing. And then in here, we want this just like you see it, if you're going to be using Thunderbolt. Okay, so that's it for that. We'll go up to miscellaneous. VTD is enabled like we showed before. Trusted computing is disabled. And then we'll go over to boot. Make sure that CFG lock is disabled. Fast boot is disabled. And come down here to secure boot and make sure that's disabled. Okay. And then we save and exit, and we start to boot. The first thing you want to do when you are installing macOS, or if you ever make a change to your EFI, is when it comes up to the boot screen right here, you want to reset NVRAM. You always want to do that. Now I've still got my original boot drive in here. I'm going to put in a different one, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, just swapped out that NVMe drive. And I believe this one, no, it's not blank, but I can erase it, no big deal. So, like I said, we want to reset NVRAM. Always do this. Every time you make a change in your EFI folder or when you're starting to boot fresh, a lot of guys, they don't do this and then they have problems. What happens is in Mac computers is it has memory and it remembers the previous boot sequence. So let's say you've been trying to install macOS for a long time. You've been doing it yourself and everything, and you say, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go to TechNolli. I'm going to buy an EFI, and I'm going to put it in my USB stick, and I'm going to boot it up. And you don't hit reset NVRAM, it's going to be booting from the memory of your old install disk. So that's going to do you no good. So you want to reset NVRAM. Just hit it. It's going to restart the computer and it's going to erase everything in memory. We're going to come right back up to that same menu and we're going to try to install. All right, so I'm going to go here, install macOS Sequoia. We'll see how it goes. Right there, successfully initialized a HCI controller. And what it's doing is trying to get past the USB issue, and that is the Kext that I built for USB, the USB inject TechNolli. So that's what gets us past there. Okay, we'll come up here to the screen where we format the drive and continue on. Okay, disk utility. Make sure you hit the down arrow and show all devices. And we're going to pick the name of the drive. If you had a Western Digital or something like that, you would pick that name up here. Okay, then we're going to erase it. Call it whatever you like. I'm going to call it Z890, just for the heck of it. And erase it. Okay. And then we'll install macOS Sequoia. Continue. Continue. Agree and agree. And then select the drive that we just formatted. Okay, so this is going to go through the complete install process. It has no issues finding its own drives and finishing the install on its own. So when it's finished, we'll come back and we'll get into the macOS.
VoiceOver to set up your Mac.
Okay.
Press the escape key.
All right, so we're done. So let's just get through these screens. Continue, not now. Local area network, I'm going to just say no to that for right now. Continue, not now. Agree, agree. And we'll just give it a name and password. Okay. All right, yeah, we'll take location services, and I don't care about this. Set up later. I'll do light. And then here we are. Welcome to Mac. And come down here and click to continue. And then just follow this keyboard setup. Just do what it says. And we're done. Okay. So I've got a USB stick here with files on it that I need, which would include OC auxiliary tools. Okay, so let me grab that. Auxiliary tools. And where is it? OC, there it is. Okay. Now, I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to update it. But as you see here, this is very strict as far as getting past this. This is your security of Sequoia. Okay, so you just click done, go here to system settings and go to privacy and security, come down here and say open anyways to an application and then open anyway, put in your password. That's why Macs don't have viruses, because they are so protected. Okay, and now we are going to update it. So we'll just click here and then latest version, get the latest version. Okay, now we're updated. If you don't update, you could mess up your EFI, and we don't want to do that. So what we need to do is mount the hidden partition on this USB stick and also the hidden partition on the NVMe drive. Okay, and this is my NVMe drive here. I'm going to go ahead and eject this drive so we don't get confused. But I'll go ahead and mount this one, put in my password. If we don't do this step, and a lot of people forget this, then you're going to have to leave this bootable USB stick in your computer every time you want to boot your computer. So we don't want to do that. We'll do it again right here. And we will mount the hidden partition on the USB stick. Okay. Now what we'll do, just go over here to computer. This is the NVMe. And here is my EFI partition. With my EFI, I'm going to drag it into here and replace this one. And now that we have our EFI mounted on the NVMe drive, then this will boot on its own. Okay? So there we go. Okay, so we're done. We can boot the computer. Everything's fine. But now we want to go ahead and do the USB port mapping. So on my little miscellaneous USB stick, I have Hackintosh. So we're going to need that to do USB port mapping. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and eject this and open this up. And again, we're going to have to... Nope, it opened without security check. Okay, good enough. All right, so we'll stretch this out and we'll go to USB. Now, if you'll notice, we have way too many USB ports showing. If this was Windows, that would be fine, but it's not. And we are only in macOS allowed to have 15 ports total. So each USB 3 and a USB-C has also a USB 2. So you have to count every USB port on this motherboard, front and back, as 2 ports, okay? So what we're going to do is we need a USB stick or something that is USB 2, and we're going to need a USB 3 device, or I'm going to use a thumb drive that is USB 3, and we're going to test each one of the ports on the motherboard, the front case ports and the back ports. Okay, so let's get started with this. Okay, I'm going to start with a USB 3 device, and I'm going to plug it in, and we're going to watch to see where it pops up. So here we go. Go ahead and plug it in right here, and right here it is. So we're good there. We're going to plug it into this port. I'm on the back of the board right now, right there. And we'll plug it in here. And there's another one that showed up. And here's another one that showed up. Got 2 more. Okay, right there. And right there. Okay. Now, I have a USB-C on the back of this board. So I'm going to go ahead and check that out too. And I'm going to get my little adapter that goes from USB-C to USB 3. All right, so we got one on the back of the board here, so I'm going to plug it in. There it is on the top. And then I've got one on the front for the front of the case. And there we go. All right. Now, I also have 2 more USB ports for the front of the case that I'm going to test now. Okay, there's one. And there's one. Okay, now I'm done with USB 3 and C. So now I'm going to grab my USB 2 device and I'm going to put it in each port that we just did. Okay, right there. There's that one. Notice they come up as 480 megabytes per second. So that's how you know it's USB 2. Okay. Almost done with the back. Okay, and then I've got these two front. I'm not going to do the USB-C because I'm not going to plug a USB 2 device into a C. Okay, there we go. I'm done checking all the ports and finding out what is what. So what I want to do now is eliminate these. So I'm going to go down through here, highlight them, and then hit the minus. Now we can only have 15 ports total. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ooh, we've got to get rid of 5 ports. Okay, so you have to choose what ports you're willing to live without. Okay, so I'm going to start with USB 2 on the back, and I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to plug it in. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this one. And the one right under it, these are red ports. I'm going to get rid of that one. And then I've got a port by itself here. I'll get rid of that one. Okay, now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We have to get rid of 2 more ports. So I'm going to get rid of these red ports on the back, the USB 3. So I'm going to get rid of this one and the one under it right there. And this one all by itself. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're okay right there. All right. So we've got 15 ports that we can use. And now what we're going to do is export right here. Click that button. And that's going to give us a kex that we're going to put into our EFI folder. Okay, so we're going to open up and we're going to mount, and we're going to mount the one that's on, or the NVMe drive, of course. Put in our password. Okay, then we're going to go over here to computer, EFI hidden partition, EFI, OC, kext. Okay, then we're going to grab this right here, USB ports kex that we just generated, put it into here, and it will pop up. It will pop up right here. All right, so I'm going to move it up a little bit above the Bluetooth right there and save. Now I can go ahead and turn XHCI port limit off and then go back here and turn off this, or if we leave this on, then we're going to still see all of those ports. So let's save, let's reboot, and make sure that we still have our USB 15 ports. Okay? All right. Go ahead and boot. All right. So we'll go ahead and log in and make sure that our USB ports are accurate. And we'll use that hacking tool, open it back up. And we'll click USB. And then we're going to hit this broom to clear all. And then we're going to recycle. And there we go. So we don't have that whole list that we had before. We just have our 15 ports. So we are done with port mapping. And then we can just go ahead and get rid of all of this stuff here on the side because we've already used what we needed. All right. So let's get into benchmarks. Okay, guys, we're back up and ready to do some diagnostics. We're going to do some benchmarks. Let's go ahead and get Geekbench running, and we'll see what this comes up to be. As soon as it's done, we'll come back. Okay, so we got some good numbers here. Now remember, this is just an i7. This is not the i9. Okay, so we're comparing this to high-end or the newer Mac computers, but this is just an i7 processor. So 2700 is going to put us at, look at this, Mac Studio M2 Ultra, okay, on the single score. So a Mac Pro, wow, Mac Pro M2 Ultra, that is really amazing. Like I said, this motherboard performs better than any other board in these new Arrow Lake motherboards that I have tested. And we're going to test more, but this is really good. Multi-score, if you remember, we're at 18.3. Multi-score, 18.3. There's 18.3 M1 Ultra, Mac Studio. Almost comparable to the M3 Max. So I'm much more impressed. The first video I did was on, on these Arrow Lakes, was on that ASRock board. And these scores are much better. I guarantee you, with the Ultra 9, we're going to get up in here. So that's fantastic. I think it's great. All right, let's go ahead. I haven't even done this test, but let's go ahead and test the Logic Pro benchmark. Don't need to load any plugins. All right, so let's see here. This is version 11, by the way. Let's see if I hit, yeah, I do have it right here. Okay, close. All right, so let's see. For those of you who are not familiar with this, what this benchmark is, it has, now these are all Logic Pro plugins, but basically on every track we have a, these are all MIDI tracks, and then we have these plugins on each track. So 5, what is it? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 plugins on each track. All right, so let's count and see how many is right here. This is 129 tracks. I'm going to go ahead and show you, oops, going to go ahead and show you the performance meter. Okay, so 128 tracks, and here's our performance meter, and let's hit this here. Yeah, 25%. All right, well, let's really hit it. We're at 128. Let's go and turn on Let's just turn on 400. That's about 450. Turn that on. All right, let's see what happens now. A little over 50%. So that's pretty impressive. i7 processor. This is not the high-end processor. Can we just go to like the max here? 843, turn those on. Yes, we can. Wow, no overload. CPU fan is speeding up, so it is feeling it. And we got a electric piano on every track and those 5 plugins. And 800 and some tracks. 800 and, what was it? 843. So I'm really impressed with this. This is fantastic. This is using, of course, the Apollo. And that is nice. All right. Now, the reason we put in that Wi-Fi card, right? Here it is. Click it twice. Okay. So there's your Wi-Fi, and here is your Bluetooth working. No problems at all. Your UAD console, it's working. So you're good to go with this thing. I was not impressed with, you know, the first go around. So I kind of gave these chips a bad rap, but I am impressed now. And I think it's something that we can all look forward to if you're looking for a machine. And if you want to own this setup, just shoot me an email and I'll sell it to you at my cost. And it'll already be ready to go. All you have to do is just, you know, install it into your case and put your RAM in it, and boom, you can go with it. So, and this, by the way, I'm only using 32 gigs of RAM. Usually on a system like this, right, we would use 64 gigs. I'm only using 32 gigs of RAM. And I've got just a 6600 Radeon in here, which works beautifully. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was super long, but I wanted to go into detail about everything that you need to do to get one working. Now, just remember, not all of these motherboards work. So you may want to wait till, you know, I do a video on the one you're looking for. And please shoot me an email or bleep bloop down there in the bottom and tell me what motherboard you're looking at, and then if I get enough of those people looking for a particular board, I can go ahead and do a test on it. You know, all these motherboards cost money, and I have to you know, get some sort of, you know, YouTube doesn't pay anything anymore, so I have to be able to sell these once I get them working or something, so I can buy more to test. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.